This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the Narrowgate Security Agency studios.
Summer baseball up in Alaska, nothing could be finer.
Perhaps not, but October baseball in New York certainly can make a case. Today, we're talking baseball as the World Series kicks off between the Kansas City Royals and New York Mets. Former Met Howard Johnson is here to discuss the Mets' amazing ride to the pennant, and we look ahead at what to expect in the Fall Classic. A preacher calls out Sarah Palin with a ridiculous rant, and now the Mama Grizzly is responding. A brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert is on the way from Texas, and just ahead our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman in Missouri. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by Narrowgate Security Agency. Learn more at narrowgate.com. And today on the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio, I got to tell you, we're usually talking about political issues here. We're usually talking about things to help fix America, things to bring us back to our traditions and our roots and our American values. But I'll tell you what's more American than baseball and all the cards on the table? That's all I have in my mind right now with the New York Mets going to the World Series for the first time in 15 years. And today, joining us, a man who was on the team the last time the Mets won the World Series, 1986 Mets star Howard Johnson on the Palin Update. Hojo, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Kevin. How you doing, man?
Thanks so much for being with us. We are honored to have you here again. And wow, I mean, what can you say right now with this ball club in New York, a 90-win season, a division title, and, you know, people, even the manager at one point talked about words like gravy, and here they are now 4 wins away from a World Series title. As a guy who won a World Series in New York the last time it happened in the National League, what do you think about this team?
Well, these guys have shown tremendous resiliency as far as being able to go through some hot streaks and cold streaks this year, especially the last couple of months. They really put it together. I think they were just a couple games over 500 at the end of July. So they put together, you know, the last 2 months of the year, you know, a really nice streak where they've been able to beat the best teams. And that's, you know, they took care of Washington. You know, they won some games that they had to win. They're, you know, of course, with their pitching staff, as good as it is and as deep as it is, you know, it's going to keep you pretty much in every game. And they were able to step up offensively and score enough runs to get it done. And of course, can't really mention that without talking about Cespedes and what he meant to this to the team as far as when he came over in a trade. That was a great trade by the Mets, and I think that was one of the pieces that really put them over the top.
You were one of the most popular Mets. I mean, still today, people love Hojo. There's no doubt about that. He had a tremendous career, 2 World Series championships, one in Detroit in 1984, and then coming over to the Mets and winning in 1986. And it didn't stop there, where you made all-star teams and a 30-30 club, and people really a huge fan of Howard Johnson. And you were a part of, you know, one of those editions of the amazing Mets. They always are amazing when they win the few times that the franchise has won the pennant. This is the 5th time. And you being a part in 1986 with all that cast of characters that was on that team that really captured the nation. You know, people loved him or hated him, but people knew about him, no doubt about it. Do you see similarities at all between this team and the 1986 team? Because I know the excitement, people are starting to feel that old excitement again, those who were able to witness both. Do you see it?
Oh, I see it for sure. I mean, from the players' side, the locker room side, I mean, the chemistry that's going there right now is probably on par with what we had in '86, where everybody's kind of on the same page. You're pulling for each guy, and everybody's on the same page. Or, you know, they're doing whatever it takes. You know, whatever role they can have to help win a ball game, they're embracing it. They're getting production, you know, off the bench. They're getting production everywhere. So that's from that standpoint. Yeah, the locker room is probably very much like we had. The only difference is that in '80, the Mets started getting good, I think, in '84, and then '85 we almost won, and then '86 we obviously won. So the only difference now is that the team really wasn't expected to win this year, and then all of a sudden they've kind of got hot at the right time. So that's the only difference. I think people are caught up in that because they weren't expecting it. And it's like getting, presents under the tree when you don't really know what you're going to get, and all of a sudden, then boom, there it is. They're in the World Series, and I think that everybody's watched it and they've kind of seen it, and they've been the underdogs all year, and the organization has been down and talked so poorly about. But now that stuff has changed, and obviously, they got a chance to make history this coming week with a World Series against Kansas City.
Obviously it's special when anyone goes to the World Series, but, Cardinals fans, Yankees fans, they've seen this many, many times. The thing about the Mets is the times they do get there, it really is always in some sort of miraculous fashion. 1969, the team was only around for a few years and come out of nowhere to win it, and the Black Cat and the whole thing. 73 pennant winners, you barely over 500, and they go in with Yogi Berra as the manager. 86, of course, you cruise through the season, but then the unbelievable playoffs where you have to go 16 innings in the clincher against Houston, and then there you are in the 10th inning of Game 6 of the World Series, down by 2 outs, 2 strikes, nobody on. You win that game. You're losing 3-0 in Game 7, and you come back and win. And then in 2000, they go and play the Yankees in a historic Subway Series, and the whole Clemens Piazza thing and the drama there.
Yep.
It always seems to be something with the Mets that, it's never that, the Cardinals sometimes win, and it's great, and it's people respect it, but it's methodical in a way, whereas when the Mets get in, everybody notices.
Exactly. Everybody notices because they haven't been expected to be in this position in quite a while. And even though they've had the pitching kind of in place the last couple of years, I think the emergence of DeGrom kind of took the pressure off the other guys. And I'm talking about Harvey and all the other guys at Nice, and Colon, obviously the veteran in the rotation, but they've got Syndergaard, and they've got some other guys in that rotation now, and their bullpen has been pretty solid ever since Mejia getting busted for PEDs. You got Familia kind of jumping in there, taking over that closer's role. So they've got depth, and it really paid off this year. They have. They weathered the David Wright back issue all year. And of course, now they're, riding high off of Murphy and just, due to having a big night the other night. So there's a lot of surprises that they've had. But the one constant has been their pitching staff, and they're going to win. Now, they've got to this point, they haven't really been tested as far as having to come back from, late, ninth inning deficits, those kind of things. It seems like they've been pretty much in control. I think I remember them saying in the Cubs series they never trailed one inning. So the formula has always been score early, get your pitching out there, and then score late. That's kind of what they've been able to do. But it might not be quite as easy against the Royals because Kansas City's got a heck of a team, and they've been there before. And we'll just have to wait and see. But one other thing about the Royals is most of their pitchers are from the National League, like Cueto and Volquez and those guys. So the Mets have seen those pitchers before, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of, what do these guys have? I think that there are going to be some familiar faces out there, and that should help them. But we'll see what happens. I mean, you hate to see time go by when you're playing really well. You really want to just get right after it. So you're never going to know, is Murphy going to be as effective, after 5 or 6 days here of not playing. So it's going to be, there's still a lot of question marks and heading into Tuesday.
Yeah, everyone talking about Murphy, and understandably so. 6 games in a row with a home run, a postseason record. If not for Murphy, surely people will be looking at Familia, who has just been, unhittable, going the 2-inning save for the first time, and then just coming out night after night and really hardly giving up a base runner. So that has been something too. But to go back to DeGrom, because he's the first name you mentioned, and he really comes to mind for me too. He almost impressed me more in Game 5 of the Dodgers series than he did in Game 1. Game 1, he was electric. He striking everyone out, took it to him, took the 1-game-to-none lead. But here he was in Game 5 with a chance to go home if you lose. He gets a run in the first inning for him, then gives up 2. He didn't have his stuff. Even the outs were hard. The foul balls were hit hard. And what did he do? He recognized that, persevered through the game, didn't give up anything else, and the Mets were able to come out on top. He has the arm and the body of his age, but it seems he has the mind of a guy 10 years older.
Yeah, he's pretty smart, and yeah, I agree with you, Kevin. Now, Game 5 was the game that stood out for me because he obviously didn't have his best stuff like he did in Game 1, but he was able to figure out a way to win, and that's what you got to do. I mean, anybody can pitch when you got your electric stuff and you're throwing hard and throwing strikes, but when you're a little bit off, your command's off, guys are hitting the ball hard, you're escaping jams. I think those are the times that really make you. And DeGrom, that put him over the top, I think, at least in my opinion, on Game 5 against the Dodgers, because certainly they had plenty of opportunities to beat DeGrom, but they weren't able to get that one big hit. So I think from a confidence standpoint, that really helps the Mets pitchers in knowing that they can find that extra gear when they need it, and they're going to need it because Kansas City's got a heck of a team.